Hi, my name is Eric Layton with Floor Plan Marketing. I have one of our newest team members here, Josh Jerkins. He was the sales and revenue manager for 5-star vacation rentals for many years. How long were you there, Josh?
3 years.
3 years, very good.
Been in the vacation rental industry for 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years. He's been a veteran to the vacation rental game for sure. So I just wanted to discuss with him because he had the opportunity to be at 5-star when they implemented our interactive products from Floor Plan Marketing. Interactive floor plans, maps, elevations. They did the whole 9 yards. They decked out their site and they saw some pretty considerable results to their business. So I was just wanting to pick Josh's brain and have him express what he saw. So, what did you start with properties over there when you first started at 5-star 3 years ago?
When we first started there 3 years ago, we had roughly 50 properties.
50 properties.
Yeah, then moving into 2015, we went from about 175 properties, and then into 2015, we were about 210 properties.
Right, so just considerable growth
Huge
year
growth.
after year.
Huge growth.
And 5-star is kind of a luxury brand.
Absolutely.
They also have a satellite brand underneath them, Bliss, which is more kind of the
Condos.
Yeah, condos and everything like that. So you got the big luxury houses and two brands kind of working together under one umbrella. So that's a considerable amount of growth. I talked to a lot of people that are trying to grow their portfolio and things like that. So that's considerable. So we were talking a little bit. You told me 2015 was kind of a watershed year after the implementation of these interactive products.
Absolutely.
So I think the biggest thing is where you were at with your online bookings before. You were using a lot of OTAs, a lot of third-party sources paying these fees.
Yeah.
And then after you did that with the interactive products, what happened?
We went from, I'd say, roughly 15% online booking numbers in 2014. It grew to 35% online bookings.
Yeah.
Before we were using a lot of third-party sites. We were actually using those sites to generate the leverage to us. But then once we implemented interactive floor plans, it just took it by storm. I mean, people were going on our site. They were able to get a one-stop shop from our site. They were seeing interactive floor plans along with HDR photography, drone shots, community maps, and it just made it easier for them to understand exactly what they were renting and what they were looking at. Versus 2 years ago, just going and seeing, just some random still shots and a couple of pictures of a unit like everybody else has on their sites. Mm-hmm. It just didn't make it as, it didn't just portray exactly what the product was. And when we implemented these products, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and just looking at, we're getting attention now. Matt Landau from VRMB just featured floor plans as the new gold standard of property listings.
I believe it is.
So we're kind of seeing that transition from the listing, the standard listing of a photo gallery, not really much locational context, especially in that luxury brand where you do have a 7-bedroom house. Now you have a floor plan, everything's in context. People could begin planning their vacation before they even talk to anybody on the phone.
Absolutely.
So you're seeing those online bookings right off the bat there.
That's what happens.
Right.
I mean, if you're renting a 7-bedroom house that rents for $15,000 a week, you want to know exactly the layout of that house. You just don't want to flip through pictures and put in a credit card. You want to see where the master bedroom is laid out to the house, to the beach. Where's the pool? Yeah. Where's the entry? Where are my kids going to be sleeping? Where's the bunk room?
Right.
That used to be the biggest questions that our agents would have. Would be, what's the exact layout of the house?
Right.
How far are my kids going to be away from me? Where am I going to put Aunt Sally and her kids? You never knew where the bunk room was unless you had an interactive floor plan.
Right.
So my agents would go to those floor plans, look through those floor plans with the guest on the phone, and it was just total transparency with them knowing exactly the layout of the house, able to still see pictures within the floor plan, but were able to really in their mind and with their eyes lay the house out, and they knew exactly what they were getting. Yeah. It's just a game changer when it comes to sales, when it comes to online content. It really takes it to a new level.
Right. So now those inbound calls, we talk about conversion. You still have people call in, obviously, or maybe somebody's not comfortable with the new technology of a floor plan, people that aren't that tech savvy. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about that as far as somebody taking an inbound call, one of your salespeople, and how they use that floor plan as a sales tool. How did that pan out for you?
Well, like I was saying, I mean, when they, a guest comes on our website, most times, a guest is going to a website. They're going to start thumbing through the website. And sometimes it's tricky for them to know exactly what they're looking at and exactly how everything is laid out. So they call into an agent, And nowadays, I mean, with having 200 properties, we'd have 5 agents. It's hard to get those agents to see the houses.
Right.
It's hard to get them outside. It takes, an hour to go look at one house. But if you've got an interactive floor plan and you've got HDR photography and you've got a description in front of you on a computer screen and you've got a guest on the phone, you can totally tell them exactly what that house is like. There's no fumbling through a description. There's no reading master bedroom on the first floor. You're not reading that stuff. You're actually looking at it and telling them exactly how it's laid out.
Right.
And it just, like I said, it's total transparency. It lets them know exactly what they're getting. And the communication is seamless. There's none of this, let me put you on hold for a second,
Right,
let me go
right.
ask a question. They don't have to ask a question.
Right.
It's right there in front of them.
Yeah.
And it just makes it easier. It gives the agent more confidence. It gives the guest more confidence in making that connection and making that sell.
I remember I was in operations myself for several years in vacation rentals. I didn't have the luxury of having floor plans.
Absolutely.
So I would actually, as the operations guy, the property manager, I would get phone calls from the vacation planners asking me certain things about the locational context of their room because I was out in them.
In the field.
But that means that they had to actually call that person back or put them on hold for a good amount of time to try to get me, who's out in the field. I was also, you lose the sale. I was talking to the owners. I was very busy in the properties inspecting. Sometimes they wouldn't get a hold of me, or I'd have to call them back at the end of the day. You're going to lose the sale at that point.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, I did the same thing. I mean, before we transitioned into floor plans, I mean, that was the one thing that I felt like I did 50% of my time was an agent saying, hey, Josh, where is the bedroom at? Where are the bunk beds located to the master bedroom? We put the guest on hold. I jump up. If I've never been in the house, I'd run over to operations. I'd have to ask somebody in owner relations and ask them, hey, have you been in the house? Housekeeping, have you been in the house?
Right.
And they would have to tell me, hey, yes, the bunk beds are here. The back porch is here. This is where the pool is going to be laid out. You don't want your small kids to be in a bedroom close to the pool.
Yeah.
You want to maybe put them on a second floor. So it gave us so much leverage and so much just transparency, like I keep saying, and just being able to portray the product the way it is.
Right.
And there's none of that fumbling. There's none of that getting up, putting somebody on hold. It's seamless. It's a 3-minute conversation and sales done.
Awesome.
And it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And I know your revenue has seen a jump
Revenue
too.
saw a jump. Absolutely. And to go into it in a little more detail, 3D renderings. We'd have houses that were being built on the beach. We'd have a 3D rendering of that house, and we would start to sell that house. We would do vacation rentals in that house without it even being built because we already had the 3D renderings done.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a house that's being built that we're already generating revenue for that hadn't even been sold yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, from a builder standpoint or a real estate standpoint, that is just phenomenal. There's not many people that are able to do that.
Right.
And when you have good enough renderings and good enough floor plans, it makes it so easy.
Right.
And it just changes the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the luxury market. If you're going to be in the luxury market and you're gonna beat the big people, you're gonna have to put yourself out there, and you're gonna have to be different than what everybody else is doing.
Right.
And this is where it's at.
Yeah, and I think it's just starting. People are starting to adopt this, so it's gonna become a part of the status quo.
Absolutely.
And not, we talked about the sales, the revenue side of things. Me being from the operations, and I also managed. I manage the rates and everything like that. So, these properties seem to book quicker that have these floor plans, so you don't have to discount the rates. So you're running at better, you're booking quicker, your yields are better.
Absolutely. Making the owner happier. You're making the owner happier in March instead of him waiting until July to get that revenue built. It just makes everything easier, and it makes the agent's life easier. It makes everybody's life just better having the right products, and having it all on the table, opened up. Here it is.
Exactly.
It just makes it easy.
Well, that sounds good. So we have these floor plans available. We can get them drafted. If you have floor plans, that saves us considerable cost. We can translate that cost onto you. Let us know. We can bundle photography, high-end HDR photography with the floor plans. Just let us know. We're here. We're ready to work with you.